Okay guys, it's time for those questions and answers. And there's been a lot coming through. Now luckily a lot of them are similar and very much the same. Now any questions that I don't cover will be in basically the comprehensive review that's coming out after this video. So I'll be talking about the fuel range and usage on stock 31.5s and 33s because I've monitored everything. So all that will be in the comprehensive review, plus with a lot of other information. So in this section right here, I'm just going to answer all those questions that aren't really answered in the next video. All right, let's get started. Corey, do you wish you bought a Prado instead of a HILUX? Short answer, no. Dahl, how would a modified HILUX like yours be to daily drive? Are there some mods you would/wouldn't recommend to make the vehicle more dual purpose? For those of us who can only budget to run one vehicle and needs a daily driver. Okay, right. I wouldn't put 33s on the HILUX. That's the first thing I would say. I wouldn't do that. I also, my personal preference, I wouldn't do a full canopy setup on the back because then I feel that you're turning it into a dedicated tourer or something. Unless you need a canopy for work or whatever, that's different. Or to store general things like your dogs or something like that. That's a bit different. But to keep it dual purpose, that's kind of half the reason why I put that load lid on the vehicle, is so it is dual purpose. I can store stuff under, I can transport furniture, TVs, stuff on top. It's versatile, and that's not to say you can't do those things with a canopy, you're just going to do it differently. But I feel if I put a canopy on a vehicle, just so you understand where I'm coming from, that is to put the whole drawer system, all that stuff in, so it's decked out, ready to go at any moment, any given time. That's the reason why I would put a canopy on the back of a HILUX, and that's not necessarily everyone else's reason to do it. That's just my reason, that's my view on it, and that's why I prefer the hard lid. Skinny man adventuring. Main downfall of the HILUX as a four-wheel drive. I will cover that in the next video, but spoiler alert, the departure and approach angle and the tech, the annoying tech. LN Luxy, thoughts on your old HILUX N70 compared to the N80? That is a bloody good question. Okay. I did like how the N70 didn't have too much tech in it. But then on the other hand, I like how the N80 has a lot of tech in it, except for the annoying problems you get with the anti-collision thing when you're off-road. And I'll dive into that in the next video, the comprehensive review. And you'll get my full detail on why I absolutely hate that feature in the vehicle and why it's a pain in the ass. So, the N70, I actually like the shape better of the N70. The N80, I still love it, like it. But yeah, although I do like the radar cruise control, all the other tech, I don't really use. Hong Seng Lao? Does that abbreviate something? Hong Seng, have you blocked the EGR? No, I haven't blocked the EGR. I don't see a need to do it. Cassanford 26. Time for a 300 series? Question mark. It's a long waiting list for that. Don't hold your breath. Evie McLuna. Do you feel any less, more, or similar confident before a big trip in a more technology dependent vehicle, i.e. does the simplicity of the 79 both electronically and mechanically give you more confidence when going remote? This is a two-way answer I'm going to give you here. The 79 series is 9 years old. Now, if I hadn't done all the work to it that I have done right now, then I would say that I would trust the HILUX more than the 79 because it's older, there's a bit more wear and tear. But it's all maintained now, it's up to standard. So put the two against each other. Reliability, I trust them both, but when it comes to technology, I know for a fact that the HILUX has given me problems twice with all that tech, and you'll see more about this in the comprehensive review on it. It's to do with the anti-collision tech. Sometimes it goes haywire, and there's a specific time it does that on soft sand. I explain that more in that video. So I would say that I'll be more confident with the 79 than I would with the HILUX. Yes, the 79 still has an electronic kind of engine that's quite sensitive and things like that, but I know that vehicle much better than the HILUX. So I'm more mechanically aware of what's going on in the 79 and electronically aware as well compared to the HILUX. I haven't twisted any spanners underneath the bonnet in the HILUX. I haven't really done any electrical work in it. That's all been done by other people. So that's probably why I would say that. Daniel, does it turn on every morning? Yes. Not once has it not started the first time. Jordan, how has the load lid performed? Very well. It's been very well. It's been very handy. Nothing's broken on it. It's fairly scratched up because I've thrown all kinds of firewood and other stuff on it. I've transported all old parts from the 79. I've transported bull bars on it, so it's pretty scratched up. But you can only really tell if you really look at it, because it kind of car sits like this, you know, the HILUX. So it's a bit hard to see the scratches from where you are, and it's all that checker plate. So it's been fantastic. It's been great. Australia. Was the TC lock-up kit worth it? Haven't seen you mention it once. Good pickup, mate. I haven't actually mentioned that once. I'm glad you actually brought it up because I've totally forgotten about it. I only use that when I tow. So I've got the Richards torque converter lock-up kit. And what that does is it holds the gear longer at certain revs, so it doesn't change a lot. So it changes a little bit from the factory setting. I don't think it's done much for me, to be honest. And that's why I haven't really mentioned it much. I've been testing it out a lot. It does a little bit when you tow, mainly around 4th and 5th gear. That's where it mainly does something. But other than that, I don't really use it. It hasn't made much difference. I thought it would. I was really confident that I'll be able to hold the gears a bit more, because once I put 33s on that HILUX, I have rarely used 6th gear ever. The only time I use 6th gear is, you know, when it's like a overtaking and it's like $1.35 and then like you're off the accelerator, then it'll sit in 6th gear. But as soon as you get back to normal driving speed, you can't get 6th gear again. So if you go to 33-inch tyres, you lose 6th gear in the HILUX. So Richards lock-up torque-up kit, locked-up torque converter, hasn't helped. Bosman Luke, how's the suspension holding up? It's holding up bloody great. It's probably one of the things on the vehicle that I notice time and time again when we're going off-road, is how good the suspension is actually set up, especially with that constant load in the back. It's just really right. It's probably the best suspension I've driven in ever, I would say. It's just right, the way it's set up. It's not harsh, and which is amazing to think about because the rear is leaf, right? Just the way it's set up with the weight I've done, I've fluked it. It's good. Explore the bush. When are you getting an alloy tray or a half canopy? I am not going to put a tray on that vehicle. I'm not going to put a half canopy on it. I'm not going to put a fiberglass canopy on it. The low lid or a hard lid is something that I've always wanted to do, and that is what I'm going to do. Now, I learnt my mistakes from the previous HILUX I had. I wish I never put a canopy on it. And you don't really realize these things until you do it, and then you go through the motions of it. So that's how I want it. And a lot of people out there are pro canopy and are against hard lids and low lids. That's fine, you know, because everyone wants to set up their vehicle different, but that's what I like on the HILUX. Koalu. Any problems with the DPF? Zero problems with the DPF. Absolutely zero problems. It has never gone beyond half. It's never gone beyond half full on the DPF meter. So it's got this meter, and every 150 to 300 Ks in that vicinity, it'll do a burn. And generally when this meter gets to about halfway, it does a burn. It's never been a full burn. So I don't know why, but that's how it's been. Josh Dardo, are you happy with the power? Yes, I'm happy with the power. As you heard earlier, I don't feel a need to do a tune. Sean Elson, does your airbox leak dust like mine does? I can safely say that mine doesn't, but Sean, do you put oil on the inside ring of your airbox? That's what I do, and it seems to work pretty good for me. I have looked, I haven't seen any dust yet. Touch wood. Kyle Denton 21, knowing that you've got the Patriot camper for a 6-month lap around Oz, 79 or HILUX? 79. Every day of the week. Andrew Haff, my question is the HILUX everything you hope for, or is it more? We know you go to 79 over the HILUX. Well, that's right, I would go to 79 over the HILUX, and I am going to 79 over the HILUX, but is it more than I hoped for? I would say yes, it is more than I hoped for. It is definitely more than I hoped for. It's super capable. I was very happy with how it performed up in the Ashburton and on the sand and all these other trips we did. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with how it has performed. But let's keep in mind, it's not a rock crawler.